Hello everybody and welcome back to episode 4 of my Fortnite Creative Zombies tutorial. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded a video. I've just been working on new projects, but now I'm going to focus on finishing this tutorial, and then after that I'll show you what I've been up to. So in the last episode, what I was going to do, I was going to create a mutator zone where when you go into it, it turns the zombie spawners on and off, so we can dynamically turn them on and off. But what I'm going to do instead of using a mutator zone, we're going to use the player counter device. But before we get into that, what I want to do is I want to change the timer device to a timed objective device. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the settings and check all the settings and then copy them over to the timed objective device. Now I've got the events and the functions set up, I'm just going to change a few settings in the options. Now what I want to do is delete the timer device and put this in its place. The reason why we changed this is because there's a few more events that we can tap into, like the unpaused, stopped, resumed, completed, and started and restarted. This gives us more control over the timer. Now that we've made that change, what I want to do is just start the game and make sure it works. Right, that all seems to be working lovely. Right, the reason why we want to dynamically turn the spawners on and off is in each spawner there's a setting and it's called the activation range. That means if you're within the distance of the activation range, the zombie spawner will trigger. So it's set to 7 tiles. So if you look at the squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I'm stood here, the zombie spawner won't spawn. But if I come into this tile, it'll activate. That's a good feature, and you can change that setting depending on how big your rooms are and how big your map is. But what it doesn't cover is if the spawners are stacked on top of each other. So say you've got one on the ground floor and one on the upper floor. If your player is on the ground floor, the spawner on the upper floor will be activated as well because you're still within range of it. So what we want to do is if there's no players on the top floor, we want to disable the spawner on the top floor. Just so we can have the maximum amount of zombies around the player at all times. To achieve this, we're going to use the player counter device. I'm going to go into the player counter device and change a few of these settings. As you can see, when I enter the zone, the number changes, and when I leave the zone, the number also changes back to 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply move the device closer to the spawn area, and I'm going to place it here on the ground. And I'm going to place the floor build piece just so I know where it is in game. Basically, what I want to do is enable it when the timed objective device has completed, and disable it when the timed objective device starts. I also want to make sure that when it gets disabled, it unregisters all the players. So now, I go to the events and I change on count succeeds to basically disable both the spawners. And then, when a player is counted, I want it to trigger each spawner's trigger device. Make sure I've select the right one. There you go. So when the count succeeds, it means there's 0 players in the box and it disables the spawners. And when it counts a player, it enables the spawners. Now I need to go to the triggers and tell each trigger to forget about the timed objective device. So I remove the timed objective device from each of these triggers. If you have these like ghost options in any of your devices where it says select device unknown option, all you need to do is literally pick up the device and place it again. And these ghost options should disappear. So to make sure this is working now, I'm just going to start the game. And as you can see, that is working as intended. When the timer went off, when it completed and I entered the area, zombies spawned, and when I left the area, no more zombies spawned until I re-entered it. Now, in this episode, I was going to extend the levels and include dogs and make the zombies harder. However, there's a lot more mechanics that need to be implemented. For example, I've only got 1 barrier when I need 4 barriers for my bottom floor. I need 3 barriers for my bottom floor. So what I want to do is just extend this system another 2 times and implement the barrier system with it. So the first thing I want to do is select all of these devices that are attached to the barrier mechanic. I'll take the props as well, and what I'm going to do is just quickly move them over to where they need to go. So this barrier controls that spawner. And then, in my next room, I don't have another zombie spawner. So I'm just going to copy just the barrier devices and paste it there. In the next room, it will be attached to another spawner. So what I want to do is copy all the props, copy all the devices, and then include this device and this device, and copy them all over. Once I've done that, I'm going to go around and rename each device to the corresponding room. Once I've renamed them, I need to go into each device and make sure that it is only linked to room 4's devices. So the first thing I'll check is the functions. The next thing I'll check is the events. So as you can see, this one is linked to room 2 fiend spawner trigger. That's because I didn't rename it. My apologies. So what I want to do is just rename that to room 4. And again, just go through and check the events and the functions. As you can see, this one says room 3 conditional button. So what I want to do is, because it belongs to room 4, I need to remove this option and save. Same with these devices. Just check. This is connected to room 2 fiend spawner trigger. Now there's no triggers in this row, so what I need to do is remove it. And just like that, my entire first floor is set up. Now doing this, I'm going to go through my map and I'm going to calculate just how many spawners I need and just how many barriers I need. So in the next episode, there'll be a lot more spawners there and a lot more barriers, but they will be in rows. Also, off camera, I'm going to extend on this system and introduce more guns for more rooms. I'm doing this off camera because I've already covered this wall purchasing system, so there's no need to do it again. So in the next episode, I'll extend this and then we'll carry on making more rounds. When it comes to making more rounds, the first thing I want to implement is a perk system. So I'll make perks before I make more rounds. So I might get on to making more rounds next time, or I might not. If that's confused you, I do apologise. If you need any help or any information or any questions in general, I have actually made a new Discord and I'll link it in the description, where you can just pop on and say, hey, I need some help with this, or I didn't get this in the video. I'll happily help. with all that being done, I think it's like time to end the video. So thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing for more. And I'll see you next time. Bye.